Kings win. The last time we heard that was November 5th against the Golden State Warriors at home in the Golden One Center. Since then, the Kings have lost 8 straight games by double digits. The most recent one was a defeat last night by the Memphis Grizzlies. No Ja Morant, no Jaren Jackson, just a bunch of young guys, including a dog. And my cousin, he's my cousin, Cedric Coward, who went for 19 last night, shot the ball well. But heck, who doesn't shoot the ball well against the Kings? What is next for the Sacramento Kings? I'll tell you what, if I'm in charge, what I'm doing is I'm throwing away the season. The season, it did like you cannot start the season this bad in the Western Conference and make something of it. So when I say I'm throwing away the season, what do I mean? Do I mean, oh, we're trading everybody, blah, blah, blah? Obviously, you would love to trade a bunch of guys. The problem with making trades is the other team has to want those players as well. And not only do they have to want those players, because I'm sure teams would take Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, or whatever, but it's at what cost? What would the Kings get in return? So this is that's what negotiations are. So it's not as simple as just, oh, we go trade Zach LaVine, we go trade. Well, a lot of times I hear people talk about, well, when Oklahoma City did it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's listen to those. Let's listen to the names. We're talking about Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. At the time, Serge Ibaka was Serge Ibaka. You know, we're talking about guys who were studs on a good OKC team. It wasn't an OKC team that was at the bottom of the barrel. It wasn't an OKC team full of 30-year-old and up players. This it's a totally different situation. So it's not as simple as just trading. Excuse me. It's not as simple as just trading Zach LaVine and get some picks. Like maybe you can get a pick. You know, you're not getting picks for DeMar DeRozan just because of age. It has nothing to do with him as a player. But trading away those dudes and now add Demonis Sabonis into the equation. If you wanted to trade Sabonis, he's out. He's out the next 3-4 weeks. Torn meniscus. So when I talk about throwing away the season and blowing it up, whatever we want to call it, whatever phrase or anything, what I do immediately, especially after, which I think this loss to the Memphis Grizzlies, I think this was the most embarrassing loss of the season. If you guys can think of another one that was more embarrassing than this, refresh my memory because it's all turning into a blur now. They're all one and the same, when I really think about it. A blowout, a blowout, a blowout. But like I said, the Kings went to Memphis and got destroyed. They didn't win a single quarter. The Grizzlies won every single quarter. Without Ja Morant, without Jaren Jackson. Like I said earlier, with a bunch of young dogs. And if I'm the Sacramento Kings, that's what I'm doing. If y'all think I'm talking about just go and start winning or whatever, like that's not necessarily what I mean. The goal is always to win, but what I'm saying is young guys have to be in the starting lineup. I want Neat Clifford playing big minutes. Heck, I want Devin Carter Playing. Devin Carter got a goose egg yesterday. He played 0 minutes. DMP. In my mind, unacceptable. I'm using the Doug Christie word right there. Unacceptable. In my mind, all the young guys must play. And does that mean you bench DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine the way, the Clippers have benched, Chris Paul over the last few weeks? I think he's playing now, but a few weeks prior, no, I'm not saying they shouldn't get DMPs either. But if I'm in charge, this season immediately turns into a developmental year. That's all I'm concerned about all season long is developing. And this ain't even about developing individually. This is developing that culture that Doug Christie keeps talking about, that culture that Scott Perry keeps preaching. That's what this season would be about for me. It's not about wins and losses. Obviously, you go out there and you try to win, but it's about establishing an identity, creating what is Sacramento Kings basketball. Now, maybe that means lineup changes often. Maybe that means minutes fluctuate a lot. But the Keon Ellises of the world, the Keegan Murrays, Devin Carters, Nick Clifford, Maxime Reynaud, I want to see those guys in the game all the time. I want to see those guys in the regular rotation. I want to see how maybe that doesn't mean change the starting lineup. That's what I would like to see. But however, it doesn't matter who starts. Like everybody loves to say, it doesn't matter who starts. It's about who finishes. And I want to see some of them rookies finishing meaningful games. I do feel like, or young guys, excuse me, not just the rookies, but young guys. I do feel like youth can help this team compete. Now, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, they're obviously from a skill set or talent wise, or whatever, however we want to chop it. Those are your three best players, right? Aside for you, well, y'all know how I feel about Keegan Murray. I think Keegan Murray this season has the opportunity to be the best player on the team because nobody is standing out in a positive way. Keegan Murray is the one player on the team that I think can impact winning. And if he can play well on the offensive end and defense, I think clearly he becomes the best player on this team. Does it mean he's your franchise player? No. But it could mean he's stepping in the right direction. And I think, unlike other years, this is a great opportunity for Keegan Murray. Had his first game back yesterday. And, nobody played well yesterday. It is hard to do. Like, no, but like, this can be an all-time bad Sacramento Kings team. Unless, and then I ain't even gonna say unless, because I'm not gonna say it like I got the answer. But what I would try next, like I said, is play these young guys. Devin Carter shouldn't see another DMP. Nick Clifford should play big minutes. He's a first round pick. Meaning, and not even. And the thing is, when I see Nick in the game, I don't want him just playing big minutes. I don't want to get a lot of conditioning time. I want him to be utilized in the offense. Again, for me, it wouldn't be about wins or losses because this is about now. Like, what is it? The Kings lost the battle. This season, let's call it what it is. The Kings lost the battle. Now it's about winning the war. And to me, the war is the long term. The war is next season. The war is figuring out who can do what. And I can't figure out what Devin Carter does and do well if he's not playing. What would be the reason he's not playing? Because he's bad? Because he doesn't do this well, he doesn't do that well? Nobody's doing anything, especially in the starting lineup. You have guys in the starting lineup who are starting for the Kings. And this is no not because they have been some of the best players on the team, some of the best performers. One of my favorite players of all time, Russell Westbrook. But you have guys in your starting lineup who couldn't even be on the team during training camp. Different reasons. It could be contracts, whatever, whatnot. But the point is, they ain't Russell Westbrook and Precious Achua didn't even get a training camp roster spot. And they're starting, and credit to them, they have been two of the best players on this squad, two of the most important players on this squad. And that's crazy. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Like I knew, I knew what those two would bring, and that's when we talk about what are the Kings' strengths. You know, Russell Westbrook and Precious Achua have similar strengths. They're going to play hard. They're going to bring it every single night. That goes a long way. You could win games by effort and just playing harder and being relentless at what you do. With Precious Achua, he's going to try. He's going to rebound. He's going to defend. Russell Westbrook is going to penetrate. He's going to get a bunch of rebounds and assists. Like that's just what he do. And there's nothing anybody can do. Any any offense, whatever offense Russell Westbrook is on, Westbrook is going to. He's the best rebounding guard in history. He's gonna be that. The other guys, they don't have impactful behaviors. Everybody in the NBA can score the ball. What do you do different? That's what I'm looking for now. And I'm not looking for it in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. I'm not trying to change those guys. I know who they are. They've been who they are for over a decade, Domantas Sabonis included. I'm not changing them. I'm not worried about changing them. But what I have to do, what is needed, is you have to figure out what your young guys can do. So, like I said, this season to me, and if I'm in control, this season is over. But it doesn't have to be a full embarrassment. You have to figure out a way to win the war. Because the battle has been lost, and wow, that's how I'm lost for words. But it's on to the next. And when I say on to the next, for the Sacramento Kings, they got snapped this double-digit losing streak, and they have to try on the road against the Denver Nuggets. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But, however, until next time, this is Mark Haynes, and you are listening to the Bleav in Kings podcast. And do we believe? I ain't gonna say we believe in the. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying we Bleav in the Kings still, because I say this. I Bleav change is gonna happen. I Bleav change for the good is going to happen. It's just not happening this season. And until next time, it's your boy Mark Haynes, and I'm out.